Hey, racing fans, Scott Shapiro here, along with Mike Beer, to talk about daily racing form Thursday race of the day. It's at Keeneland. It's a non-winners of two allowance event for 2-year-olds traveling a mile and a 16th on the turf. And Mike, as we take a look at the field, a reminder to everybody out there that free pass performances are available for this race of the day and all races of the day. Always a daily racing form to follow along with us. And so you can make some money on your own. So always hover over that link, click on it, and you will be all set with free pass performances. All right, Mike, mile and a 16th on the turf here. Non-winners at two lifetime. And I think we're going to have a pretty significant favorite in number 7, Full Effort. Maybe not too short, but, the barn, you got Ortiz Jr., and, coming in probably in the best form.
Yeah, I agree with all that. I mean, I feel like you could get, even lower than this morning line on the number 7 Full Effort here. Top connections, as you mentioned, just a really nice win the last time that we saw this colt at Kentucky Downs. It just feels like he's got forward to go. His races are really good. His figure stands out a little bit. He'll be the favorite for sure.
Probably will be tough to beat, but as always in turf races, 2 turns, especially the pace, the trip, will play into things. As we take a look at a pace projector, and coming from too far out of it, when you look at the past performances, does not look ideal. Although you never know with these types of races, they can bunch up and it can turn into a finisher's race. How did you see the pace in this one? I think it was a little murky to me.
Yeah, me too. I will say that, we got a few horses stretching out in distance here, and that could sort of come into play in this race. I won't, Easy Wins, the horse that the number 1 that the pace projector thinks will be in front. This horse has never been on the lead in any of his races, but he does seem like he could get there from the rail. And the other thing about this pace projector too, Scott, is I didn't feel like the favorites are others. He's never really been close to the pace. I don't think he's going to be compromised either if this pace is fast or slow, because he seems like a pretty handy horse to me.
Yeah, I thought the same. But yeah, number 1 Easy Win. We'll dive in right to him on the inside. He's adding blinkers. It'll be his second start at 2 turns. Like you said, has never been on the lead before. His lone win is from off the pace in a turf sprint at Ellis Park. And I didn't particularly love his last race, but there's no doubt the draw in here and the suspect quality or depth of the field will work to his advantage.
Yeah, we'll see. I could go either way on this horse. Obviously, he goes out for a really hot barn here, and he's got a great post for a race like this. So, listen, I thought his only win on debut, which was sprinting, I thought it was sort of more game than anything else. I wasn't blown away by it. He was in a really tough race at Kentucky Downs in his second start, and then his most recent start. I would just say this: the first time they went 2 turns with him, he didn't get a good trip in that race. He did have a lot of traffic trouble in that race, and it definitely cost him. I'm not saying he was going to win, but he certainly would have been closer at the end of that race if he had a clean trip. The flip side of that is that pace was wicked fast. And if he did get a clean run and it was closer at the end, it would have been an all dressed up performance. It wouldn't be as good as it looks. So I could go either way on this horse, Scott. I don't love him in here, but I understand anybody who tells me that they like him.
Number 2, A Million Dreams, will not have as much support at the windows. He's been over the all-weather in his last 2 starts. But his one performance over the all-weather is a place you're familiar with. Mike Saratoga back on August. He looks like he finished in that race, and I guess he did, and it's a pretty decent field as always. But he didn't do very much running in there.
I agree. It was a tough field, and maybe even tougher than this one. And so maybe you want to be a little lenient because his only starts since then are on a totally different surface. And maybe he's just a turf horse. He still looks like maybe the longest shot on the board to me in here.
Number 3, Long Eye, is a not necessarily well-bred horse for the turf, but definitely comes from high-profile connections, Graham Motion, Weathermere and Freer, Johnny V. Other than that, though, I know he won on debut, but he did so over an off-track at Colonial against a very suspect field. And I really thought he did very little running, albeit against Stakes Company at Woodbine. And now he's coming in fresh. He should want more ground. That's about what I could give him credit for.
Yeah, that was ultimately my issue with him, too, is he just didn't really do any. He just looked totally overmatched in a stakes race last time. He didn't do anything. But maybe, listen, they're stepping back into his available condition here. So that's a good thing. His debut, I mean, he came with a pretty big run to win that race from way out of it after trouble at the start. And I will say this, he didn't look like a dirt horse. So anybody who thinks, his best race is on dirt, I don't think that's the case. He didn't look like a dirt horse, even though he won that day. I just wonder how good he is. I guess at 12-1, I wouldn't argue too hard, Scott. He's got other things going for him.
Understandable. Number four, collecting high profile connections as well. The same as journalism. Michael McCarthy eclipsed Thoroughbred Partners, but hasn't kept the company of journalism until his last start. Well, not quite journalism's company, but it was a good field. You talked about it a little earlier.
Yeah.
But going back, I watched the Ellis Park race. It was pretty underwhelming. He was supposed to win the race, and it wasn't a very strong field.
Took the words right out of my mouth there. I don't. This is the horse that I wanted to like. I wanted to make a case for this horse that had a big price when I was going through it because I hated the trip and the ride that he got in that last start at Kentucky Downs. His other races do nothing for me.
Yeah, number five, Naughty Nix, is a son of Nix Go. Has some upside here, some unknown, has never been on the turf thus far, only raced twice at Gulfstream Park over the all-weather there, and really took the step forward going 2 turns last out. And this is a barn for Jeff Engler, who was not winning races much of the year, but all of a sudden is 3 for 7 over his last 7 races overall. And there's some decent pedigree here on the bottom side.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I mean, I don't know that I'm, holding on tons of hope that Nix Go is going to be a turf sire. I guess we'll see about that. But the female family here, it's all turf. So I like that about this horse. I remember, I thought his debut was a really useful kind of a race going short. It didn't look like he was cranked up to me. I thought he ran deceptively well there. And I remember that this horse was entered in a stakes race at Kentucky Downs off that debut. They wound up scratching from that race. They went back to Gulfstream. They ran him in that maiden race around 2 turns on synthetic. And I just thought he took such a big step forward, Scott, when he won that second career start. He got forward from the outside. He secured the rail. He kept right up close, and he just ran right by the leader at the top of the stretch. I just thought it was a real big move forward. I love his pedigree. He'll probably be a fair price in here. I spent a lot of time trying to talk myself into this horse.
Me too. As we move to number 6, East Village, who was shorter on the morning line, and sounds like from what Mike and I are saying, we'll hope that he's shorter on the tote board than Naughty Nix. I think he will be, even though this is a son of Twirling Candy for Kenny McPeak that's never crossed the wire first. I had a hard time getting excited about him at 5-1. I thought his races were fine. I expect him to pass a lot of horses.
Yeah, I'm sort of with you on that. He's not for me in this race, and we'll see. Maybe he'll just win. There's nothing to really knock about him necessarily, but out of that last race at Churchill Downs, where we already talked about it, was a really fast pace, and this horse just sort of sat back and sort of picked up some ground late with a clean trip. I would just rather have easy wind out of that race than East Village.
Yeah, there was a runoff speed that ended up finishing second in that race. We've talked about a couple of times. As we move to the favorite here, 5-2 on the line, number 7, Full Effort. We talked about him briefly. This is a son of Liam's Map that they spent a pretty penny for, $425,000. He ran decent on debuting on the turf, and then he had a really poor trip when he was supposed to win on August 17th and missed by less than a length that day. And then we'll take a look at this replay where he was the best. I mean, he got a pretty good trip there, but he was the best. He was the best horse in the race. Now you get Irad aboard. I think he's going to be tough to beat here. What say you?
Yeah, I think he's going to be tough to beat here too. I'm not really way against this horse. I might wind up taking a little shot against him, but I'm not way against this horse. As you pointed out, he was going to win 2 starts back. If he got any kind of a trip in that race, he would have won there. He got very unlucky. He came back in the race that we just watched. I know it was at Kentucky Downs, and those races are hard to put a lot of stock in, but I thought he looked really good running that horse down at the end.
A horse that'll be a much bigger price is number 8, Colt 47, coming out of lesser races at Colonial. Took him 3 starts on the turf there. Got it done at 6-5 last time. I found him very difficult to back.
Yeah, he's going to be a huge price in here if you like him. I don't like any of his races. I also kind of feel like it's not a great sign that DeSormo has this horse also entered, I think, on Friday's card, and he's got him entered in a dirt race that day. So I feel like even he isn't sure that this horse is that good.
Sounds like a little darts for Keith DeSormo as we move to number 9, Expressway horse, shipping in from New York off 2 sprints for trainer Bill Mott. The leeway is it makes this one a half to script, who ran a Keeneland and didn't get a great trip to finish second there on Saturday. So Colt that'll be trying 2 turns for the first time, won on debut at 9-1, big price, 10 horse field, and then came back in the futurities. We'll take a look on October 3rd, Mike, and didn't hit the board here, but didn't really disgrace himself either.
Yeah, I thought he ran okay in this race. He's last all the way around the track, and he's going to make up ground. I mean, everybody is sort of making up ground at the end of this race, Scott. So I'm not going to give him, any extra credit, but he's running at the end of this race, and he's just going to get out finished for third. He ran okay in here. I liked his debut. He showed a little bit more speed first time out. That was also sprinting. So maybe in this race, as they stretch him out for the first time, don't be surprised if you see him out of there running and maybe making the lead. And he's also got plenty of pedigree to stretch out. This horse wasn't that hard to make a case for.
Nope. Louis Saez aboard for the first time certainly means he might be sent aggressively.
Yeah.
And number 10, Baytown Dreamer. I don't know if he's got the speed from the outside, but it seems to me like that's his best chance based on his win at Ellis Park on July 6th in front-running fashion. Ben Curtis will be aboard, the son of Mendelssohn, who I think is going to get a tough trip from the outside, and I think his win is probably going to be the best performance of his career.
Yeah, we'll see what kind of trip he gets in here. Maybe I'm just underrating this horse. I just don't really like him in here. I know he's dropping out of 3 straight stakes races, just tougher spots than this one, and maybe he's just found the right field here. And listen, maybe you'll even get that morning line price, which I guess would be fair. I just didn't like this horse.
All right, well, let's head to the horses that we do like, and you landed on the 5, Mike. You had a little more guts than me. I thought the 7-horse Full Effort would just be a little too much for Naughty Nicks to handle, but I think we might wager on the race somewhat similarly. I don't know. It depends on the price here, but talk a little bit more about Naughty Nicks.
Yeah, I think we saw it the same way here. I won't listen. The 7's the horse to beat in this race, and I'm not going to sit here and suggest that I'm way against him. But Naughty Nicks, this is the kind of horse that I like to bet if he's going to be around 10-1, because I do think he's good, and if he does wind up being good, this is the time that you want to get him before he's fully exposed. I think he's going to handle the turf. I think he took a huge step forward winning his second career start. And I don't think there's a bunch of killers in here outside the favorite. I think Naughty Nicks has a chance to be at least as good as everybody else.
Absolutely. We'll hope so. Mike goes with 5, 7, 1, 3. I'll go with 7, 5, 9, 6. The race of the day, Thursday at Keeneland, daily racing form. Free PPs available. Best of luck.